YouTube, how's it going? The GOAT House is back with an updated 2-round NFL mock draft right here in the middle of free agency. Most of the big moves, trades have been made, so this needed an update. The Giants got 2 first-round picks now, so we definitely needed to update this, especially with teams' needs changing. But I'm still a fan of taking best player available, but, if you absolutely don't need something at a pick, then I understand not taking it. But we'll check this out through 2 rounds. I have one trade here. I'm not a huge fan of doing trades either, so this trade makes sense. As we sit, things will change, but as we sit, this is a very realistic trade. I think this team I have trading up is definitely realistic come draft time. So right before we get started, check out our Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, links in the description for all those. We're constantly talking on our Twitter about free agency and the draft, so check that out. Extra content on our Patreon. So you can check that out too. Links in the description for all that. But on to the first 8 picks, and I will explain when I get to each pick. You're going to see some picks, but I'm going to explain when I get there. So, as you can see, the trade is at pick 5. People may not be happy with me, but I'll explain when I get there. Cardinals, I still got them going. Kyler Murray. I know there's some Cardinals fans out there that are still they're not happy about that. This is not what I would do. This is a predict the pick. Keep that in mind for every pick. This is predict the pick. Here with this, we're also doing 7-round team-by-team mock drafts to get a little different perspective. Some teams end up being the same in some picks because I really think they're doing that. But, check those 7-round mock drafts out. There's only a few done so far. We're going to get through them. But Kyler Murray to the Cardinals, I just think that's what's happening. I think that's what's happened. That's the bottom line. He's a Kingsbury-type quarterback. Kingsbury doesn't, I say this every time I do this mock draft, but Kingsbury doesn't have long. He's got one shot here to do this in the NFL. He's got to get his guy, and it starts with the quarterback, and it's going to be a spread offense that's going to be very hard to stop. And, I don't think Murray's the best player in the draft, but it's a guy that I don't want to play, and that's what made me move him to my number 1 quarterback. I don't want to play against him. I don't want to game plan against him. And there's players that played against him that said he's the best player in the draft. He's the best player I've played against, so I take that in consideration too when moving him up. So Kyler Murray, 1 to the Cardinals. I think it's happening. Rosen could be off to, a couple of teams, Dolphins, Redskins. So, we'll keep an eye on that. But the Niners, I have going Nick Bosa. This is a big question here. Big, interesting debate. Nick Bosa, Quinnen Williams, which one's it going to be? Because they got D4. Do they want Bosa? They're playing Solomon Thomas at the end. Solomon Thomas should slide into D-tackle. That's my opinion. But Bosa fits that DN spot. Even if they're keeping Thomas, Bosa's an upgrade. They're going to take who's number 1 on their board. Number 1 on their board is not going to be Kyler Murray. It's going to be Bosa or Williams. They're going to take, no matter what the need is, what's more of a need, doesn't matter. They're going to take who's 1 on their board. And I'm predicting Bosa is 1 on their board. He's going to play the end spot. D Ford's going to play the Leo position, which is an off ball. It's a base 4-3, but D Ford's going to be off the ball, while the opposite side, Bosa, is going to be on the ball. The Chargers run that. They run it with Melvin Ingram, and guess who? Joey Bosa. So it makes a lot of sense. The Jets, Quinnen Williams, no-brainer here. They could trade back. I was trying to think of trades that made sense. I tried to look around for the Jets because they said they want to trade back. I don't like doing too many trades because it becomes a disaster. It makes a mess of my mock draft, and you start getting more wrong than you want, So, to me, it makes sense to stay put, even though you want to get more picks here. Quinnen Williams is my number 1 player in the draft right now because, the difference maker in today's game. Well, yeah, quarterback play is the best thing in football, the most important thing. Then pass rush, mainly from the edge. But the difference maker is interior pressure. I talked about that all year, and Quinnen Williams brings that, and he stops the run at an elite level, and he can play multiple positions. The Jets can't trade back in this situation. They need him, I think. And I know they have some other guys that can play on the D-line, but that's really not long-term answers. And he's better than those guys. Leonard Williams is pretty good, but Quinnen Williams is better than the other guys next to Leonard Williams day 1. That's how good he is. The Raiders at pick 4, I think Josh Allen, and it makes me think, could they trade back? There's rumors they can go quarterback, but it just seems like they like Derek Carr, but I'm not going to rule out a possible quarterback addition. But for me, with this pick, if they don't trade back, it's Josh Allen or Montez Sweat. Montez Sweat might fit a little better than Allen, but Allen can do all the tricks, really. So he can fit in, even though he's more of an outside linebacker. He can fit in here, and he's too good to pass. Easily the best player at this point. Now we're on to my trade. I know Dolphins fans probably don't like this, or maybe some of them do. I think they're going to do it. Should they do it? No, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't trade up for a quarterback in this draft class if I were them or anybody. But a team that definitely will trade up because they need a quarterback. They missed out on Teddy. I don't know if they really missed out. I don't know if they even offered him, really, because they had dinner with him, and that was like, all right, our interview, our meeting ended, and he went and signed with the Saints. So I don't know if they actually wanted him. I think they want a rookie quarterback. I think they want a young guy. Maybe it's Rosen. But right now, I like them trading up. In this scenario, what would happen? The Buccaneers would get next year, 2020 first-round pick in this scenario. How I came up with that, I used the trade value chart and I used past references, and I determined that the Dolphins' first-round pick next year would be from 13 to 5 would make sense. There's been some past trades that actually gave up that and something similar and maybe another pick, but in this case, the Dolphins trading up for a rookie quarterback, even though they have the defense to compete for sure, both teams will know there's a chance they can be picking early next year with the rookie quarterback, so the Buccaneers could potentially be getting a very early 2020 first-round pick. So I think that is enough. If they didn't want to give up the next year first, I don't know if the Buccaneers would do it, but there would be an option to do a second and a third this year, and then maybe a late pick as well. Maybe it's a future late day 3 pick. But in this scenario, just so I don't really so I don't make too much of a mess here, it's something that I think is the most realistic if this trade went down. It is 2020 first-round pick going to the Buccaneers, so the Buccaneers would have 2 first-round picks next year, most likely. So the Dolphins go with Dwayne Haskins. I think Dwayne Haskins is the type of quarterback that the Dolphins are looking for. It's weird because you actually can see some Teddy Bridgewater and Haskins, but Haskins has got the stronger arm, and he's definitely a bigger too. The bigger quarterbacks are more appealing. The stronger arm quarterbacks are more appealing. I like Bridgewater a little better because he's way more accurate and he's better in the pocket, can move around, but Haskins has more potential because he's healthy and he's only going to be a rookie coming in. So the Dolphins will like Haskins. I'm pretty confident on that. They may like Locke too. Kyler Murray's going to be gone. So they trade up here, give up future first, get their quarterback. They have a pretty darn good defense. They need some D-line, but they got linebackers, secondary, very good in that department. So Dolphins feel good about their future. They just need a quarterback. They come up and get the guy that I think is their number 1 quarterback. So to me, that makes sense. It's very realistic. I know Dolphins fans probably don't want to trade up for a quarterback. I wouldn't trade up for a quarterback, but I would think about the Dolphins. Haskins is a good fit. It's really, you need some D-line, and maybe you need a offensive lineman too. But really, the thing that you really, really need, you absolutely need, is a quarterback at this moment. Things can definitely change. The Giants then go Juwan Taylor. I would think that Haskins is their guy. I'm going to do a 7-round mock draft this weekend too, coming up. So that's probably tomorrow, actually, on the 16th. So we get a different view on that. There's no trades in that. So the Dolphins hop the Giants, take Dwayne Haskins, steal him from him. Maybe they wouldn't take him anyways. Juwan Taylor makes a lot of sense with the Giants. He's number 4 on my big board. I really like Juwan Taylor. Instant plug-and-play right tackle. That's what the Giants need. They got the right guard in this offseason. Get the right tackle in there. It's going to be, let me tell you, it's going to be very, very tempting for Gettleman to take Devin White here. That's a Gettleman guy, Devin White. I really thought about this one, but he's going to have to do this one. He's going to and he's going to know that. He's not a stupid guy, even though people don't like him with that Odell trade. He's going to have to take Juwan Taylor here. Right tackle for a long time, and we see how important right tackle is. Might surprise some people with this one, but it makes so much sense to me. It's T.J. Hawkinson to the Jags, tight end from Iowa. Nick Foles needs his Ertz. That's what he needs here. Hawkinson, an every down tight end, can do it all. They're lacking a tight end. They could use a receiver. They could use, if Juwan Taylor's there, they could use him. They can use some future for defense, but you're trying to win now. You really want to get a guy that's going to help you right now. So to me, Hawkinson makes sense. It's a guy that they need. They definitely need a tight end, and it's a guy Nick Foles needs. And I know a lot of Jags fans probably want DK Metcalf. I think teams will be split on DK Metcalf. I think he slides out of this top 8 because, some teams will be scared because he's mainly just a sideline guy, down the field guy. He's not really inside the hash, inside the numbers type of guy. And some teams won't have him number 1 on their board for receivers. I'm telling you that. It might be surprising to people, but I know that. And I'm not saying the Jags one of them because they definitely could use that type of guy because they have a bunch of shifty guys. They like Marquise Lee a lot when he's healthy. they can survive without taking a receiver here. So TJ Hawkinson is a big need, and I would not be surprised if this was the pick here. And people might be hating on me for that. Seems like wherever I put Hawkinson, people will get mad. I don't know why. You don't see a tight end like this every day. Number 8 is the Lions. They take Devin White. Their linebacker unit's pretty good, but they filled out the pass rush. I wouldn't rule out Montez Sweat, but they filled out the pass rush, and there was rumors that they wanted Anthony Barr pretty bad. So Devin White could be that guy for them. And, he's worthy of the pick. High motor guy, instinctive. And for all those reasons, it's going to be hard for Gettleman. Like I said, at 6, the Giants, it's going to be real hard for them to pass on a guy because this is a Gettleman guy. I keep saying it, but they're going to have to. And the Lions, this makes sense here. They don't really have a bunch of needs anymore. Lions looking pretty good. Stafford's got to play his game. They could use a offensive lineman. They dropped TJ Lang, but so this really could be Jonah Williams too. But I think Devin White is the better prospect. Don't see a guy like this all the time. To me, if it's a fact that they were trying to get Anthony Barr, which it sounded like, they'll like a guy like Devin White. Devin White's very good in coverage. That's why he's so high as a linebacker on people's boards. People think it's because people will turn on his highlight tape and it's a bunch of him flying around the backfield hitting a guy. Yeah, that's very fun. Sometimes he does whiff on those. But what separates him from Devin, because Devin Bush does the same things as Devin White, flies around. And Devin Bush can cover, but Devin White's coverage skills are pretty darn good. You don't see a linebacker that can do that. So that's what puts him at the top. Moving on. Next picks, Montez Sweat to the Bills. They are looking for, it's not a huge need, it's not a huge need, and they could go DK Metcalf, but they have a bunch of receivers on their roster now, which is they have John Brown, Cole Beasley in there with Foster and Zay Jones. Those are the last 2 guys I named are the outside guys. First to the new additions, first 2 guys are the inside guys. So, DK Metcalf, I still think some teams will be a little scary about him because he's only scared about him because he's the only outside guy. He could do more, and he can run after the catch. But the Bills, it's no secret. They're looking for another pass rusher, and Montez Sweat is worthy of this pick. The guy's a freak. He has tremendous upside. I keep going, and I keep saying it every time that Montez Sweat is one. And some people are like, some people are saying that people are too high on him because he ran a 4.41, whatever it was. But usually those guys don't have the production that Montez Sweat has, and he had the production, and he's got an insane amount of upside. The Bills will like him here. They will not be able to pass on him here. That's where I have Sweat going. 10, the Broncos, and here's a shocker. I don't really see this one in other mock drafts, but it makes a lot of sense. DK Metcalf, wide receiver, Ole Miss. He can go earlier in this. People want him to go earlier. People think he'll go earlier, but the reasons I explained, he drops a little bit, that he's just really a deep ball, straight line guy, stays on the sideline. What does John Elway love the most? He loves the deep ball. That's all he wants to do down the sideline. That's why he got Joe Flacco. That's why he's got Cortland Sutton. And it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. DK Metcalf, Cortland Sutton, outside guys. You got Emmanuel Sanders, who, can't have too much longer on the team. And you have Deshaun Hamilton, who's the rotation guy in the slot too, who I like a lot, but he's the future Emmanuel Sanders. When you run a lot of deep, when you go deep a lot, you're going to need a good rotation at receiver. Tiring stuff there. So Metcalf makes a lot of sense for what they want to do there. I'm surprised no one else has that mocked. Bengals take Drew Lock, quarterback, Missouri. This was a tough one because the Bengals could roll with Andy Dalton, and really they can bring Lock in there and he can learn from him. But, it's time for Dalton to figure it out. But we would think that, because he's about to be in his prime, the quarterback prime numbers, But we think you'd see something coming to show us that he would be, breaking out or something at this time, and it really hasn't been there. He's been a solid quarterback. But I think the future with this new staff, new offense, I think the future is a guy like Locke, and it makes a lot of sense here. And I think they drafted very well at defense line. The defense struggled, and they could use linebackers. This could be Devin Bush, but I think they drafted pretty well on defense last year, and those guys are gonna be good, with more time. They have a great receiver unit. They have the running backs. The offensive line's getting better. So this just makes sense here. The Bengals are a team of the future, but you need a quarterback for the future. And I like Locke a lot. He's got good upside. So this makes sense here for the Bengals. Packers go Rashawn Gary, defensive end, Michigan. Too good to pass this point. And so, some people are very high on Rashawn Gary. Some people are pretty low. And this is, I've been working my big board. It's part of the Patreon link that you can get my big board through that. But Big boards are stupid. They're very stupid. And Rashawn Gary is and I'm a big fan of the position rankings, prospect rankings by position, which I do those too. And you can get access to those through the Patreon link. Rashawn Gary is a great example why big boards are stupid, because he's somewhere in the teens for me right now. But that's because I don't know where he's going to play. People want him at edge. Some people want him at D tackle. Some people want him at 3-4 end. Now, if you can guarantee me, and this is the Packers' sake here, if he went to the Packers, if you can guarantee me he's going to be a 3-4 defensive end, he's soaring up my board. He's a top 10 player easily, and this makes a lot of sense here. He fits in at the defensive end spot. The Packers could pick somebody up or re-sign somebody there, but they did a great job in free agency picking up some needs. So Rashawn Gary, plug and play at their defensive end spot. I like it a lot. And this is where the Buccaneers traded back with the Dolphins, get a 2020 first-round pick out of this, so they get 2 first-round picks next year, and they take Brian Burns, the edge rusher from Florida State. I think they'll like Burns a lot. I think he'll fit Bulls' defense perfectly. They just signed, actually, right before I started this up, they signed Shaq Barrett, but it's only a 1-year deal. He could be a rotation guy. And the other question is, Noah Spence could thrive in this defense. Can he stay healthy? And Jason Pierre-Paul was traded from the Giants because they were switching to a 3-4. I don't know if he really fits it. They're going to try to roll with him, though. But they need future here, and Brian Burns is worthy of the pick. He's a freakish pass rusher and needs to be in the 3-4, in my opinion. He's very athletic. So the Buccaneers will like a guy like this. And I have a Buccaneers 7-round mock coming soon, too. Actually, I said the Giants will be in 2 days, actually. The Buccaneers one will be tomorrow. Got that flipped. Apologize for that. But the Buccaneers 7-round mock will have them staying put and filling another need with their pick at 5. So, Brian Burns, that's a good addition to the Falcons. They take Ed Oliver. I think Ed Oliver can drop a little bit. I'm surprised. People will rip Rashawn Gary because he doesn't have the production, but there's a reason for it. And Ed Oliver doesn't have the production, really, and people don't really rip him. So, you could see he's good. Very athletic, ton of upside for both guys, Gary and Oliver. But don't know if the Falcons will be able to pass on him here. Christian Wilkins can be an option as well. The Redskins go A.J. Brown, wide receiver, Ole Miss. This makes a ton of sense to me. And, I was kind of looking over the Redskins roster, kind of evaluate them. It's a pretty good roster, really. They don't have any outstanding guys on defense, and they got Kerrigan. They got some young defensive linemen that are going to step up. They just got Landon Collins, and they got Keenum. And, the offensive line's got to stay healthy. That's a key there, too. They got their running backs. They got Geis back. AP's back. It's a pretty good team. They got some young guys going to step up. They lost Preston Smith, but Ryan Anderson's going to step up. They got Sean Deion Hamilton's going to step up, middle linebacker, like those Bama guys a lot. What do they need? They need a receiver. They've been missing multiple receivers for so long. They lost Crowder and Keenum when he was very successful. He made it to the NFC Championship with the Vikings. He had Thielen and he had Diggs. They need receivers bad. And what makes Thielen and Diggs so good? They play in the slot. They play outside. They can run any route. They can get open. A.J. Brown plays in the slot, plays outside, knows how to get open. Oh, and Thielen and Diggs can run after the catch. A.J. Brown's your best run after the catch. Him and N'Keal Harry, the best after the catch receivers here. Makes so much sense. Redskins got to do something like this here. 16, the Panthers go Cleveland Farrell, edge rusher from Clemson. Best edge rusher on the board, and they need him. They need him pretty bad. This actually, wild card here could be Jonah Williams, could be the lineman there, but pass rush, very key. Next picks, the Giants take Daniel Jones, quarterback, Duke. There's rumors that this could be it. I think if Dwayne Haskins is there, they take Dwayne Haskins up there, and then this is a different pick here. Maybe it's Jonah Williams here, but because the Dolphins hopped over him in this scenario, then they take Daniel Jones down here. They could look to trade back. I'm not a fan of Daniel Jones in the first round, but I think this is a possibility if they miss on Haskins with their first pick, the 6th pick. So this is a possibility. They could trade down. I couldn't really find a trade partner with them here. They don't want to trade out of the first. They want to stay ahead of the Patriots, but I don't think in this range, I don't think a team wants to trade that far up and give up pieces, to get somebody, because you're hopping the Vikings here, you're hopping, some of the other teams. I was thinking about the Texans. The Texans need a lineman just like the Vikings do, but are they going to hop the Vikings to get Andre Dillard or Jonah Williams? When look at the Vikings, Titans, Steelers, Seahawks, Ravens. The only team that's probably going to take a lineman is the Vikings, possibly the Titans actually, but. Mostly it's not worth it. Give up a second, a third, not worth it. So So Giants really can't find a partner here. In my scenario, they take Daniel Jones for the future quarterback. The Vikings go Jonah Williams. No-brainer at this point. He falls to 18. You take Jonah Williams, offensive lineman, Alabama. They could still pick up some guys in free agency. They're trying to clear some space. And breaking news. How does this happen every time I record? Ryan Tannehill traded to the Titans. Wow. That's huge. I want to know what they're getting. That's very good on the Titans' part, actually, because I like Mariota a lot. He's very good, but he keeps getting hurt. So Tannehill's another guy that gets hurt. So it's interesting, but they needed to get a starter-worthy backup. So that's crazy. So maybe we'll make a video on that. We gotta see what the details are. So that's interesting. Every time I'm recording a video, so that's wild. But it makes sense. Back to the Dolphins. They're trading up for a quarterback or going for Rosen. Wild. Wonder what Pigskin Pete's Titans guy. Wonder what he thinks of that. Interesting. But where was I at? Jonah Williams to the Vikings. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. They could pick some guys up. And they brought a new coaching staff in. So they believe they have, for the most part, their offensive line is good, which to me actually starts to make sense because they got some offensive line outside zone scheme guru guys, Kubiak and Dennison. And 2 years ago, the Vikings offensive line was solid. With Keenum, it was solid. So, and it's the similar guys, pretty much the same guys. So they need guys, but they can make this work. And they didn't have Tony Sparano last year too, unfortunately. So they didn't even have an offensive line coach last year. So they can turn this thing around pretty easily. I'm a believer. And the Titans take Christian Wilkins. To me, this is Christian Wilkins or Dexter Lawrence, one of the Clemson guys. They will like both of them. They're Vrabel guys. Makes a lot of sense. And they just released Klein this morning. So this actually could be Cody Ford. But I still can't believe this Tannehill trade. But yeah, Titans. It was like almost right on time. We were the pick before the Titans. It's wild. Absolutely wild. Already texting Pigskin. Wonder what he thinks. Steelers. Devin Bush. Should not get past this point. And he's good. I like Devin Bush a lot. I have him higher on my big board than 20. So the Tannehill trade's just getting to me right now. Can't focus. This happened with one of the other videos with Odell. How does this keep happening? But Devin Bush, instinctive, athletic linebacker. He's way higher than 20 on my big board. The Seahawks go Byron Murphy, corner. Washington. This could be Greedy or Byron. They'll like the technician from Washington here. Ravens go Marquise Brown, receiver, Oklahoma. I was going to put N'Keal Harry here, which I really like N'Keal Harry. I like Brown too, but Brown makes more sense in that offense. I think they'll like Brown a lot more. Shifty guy for Lamar Jackson, but they want to make sure it's a guy that can go deep too, and he can. So makes a lot of sense. The Ravens need receivers. Andre Dillard to the Texans. They'll like Dillard a lot. Could be Cody Ford, but I think they'll like Dillard better for a tackle. Cody Ford could be a tackle or a guard. So Texans fill a much-needed hole. The Raiders go Greedy Williams, corner, LSU. So I have something similar here with my Raiders 7-round mock. Something very similar. I try to change it up, but a lot of things make sense. So if you haven't seen that, please check it out. A little different, but yeah. So the Raiders go Greedy. Greedy is my number one corner because he has the upside. The one that's more pro-ready, no doubt, it's Byron Murphy. Greedy Williams is able to do what he's done without the proper technique. He needs a little work, but he's got the upside is crazy. So Greedy, hopefully he goes to the right coach. Raiders actually have Bama's old defensive back coach, so that looks good. Looks real good. I actually just remembered that right now as I'm recording this. It makes a lot of sense. Greedy working with that, yeah. Do it. Eagles, Taylor Rapp, safety, Washington, pair him with Malcolm Jenkins. Yes, they will like Taylor Rapp. The Eagles will like him. I think I got two guys in this draft that I always have my guys. The guys that I'm higher on than everybody else. 2 years ago was Kamara. I feel pretty good about that one. Last year was a couple guys. Jesse Bates was probably the main guy who happened to be a safety last year. Safety this year. Taylor Rapp, not enough people are talking about him. He's well better than 25 on my big board. Taylor Rapp is a safe pick. He's the total package as a safety, and something that you can't really coach, instinctive players. Taylor Rapp is very instinctive, can play everywhere too. Eagles will like him. he can help them in multiple ways. The Colts go Akeem Butler, receiver, Iowa State. They missed out on Tyrell Williams. They get Funchess. Funchess, not a sure thing. It's only a 1-year deal. Akeem Butler is that type of receiver they're looking for the future. That's their guy. And I was starting to think about, Funchess is more of a downfield guy, taller guy, but, actually I think N'Keal Harry and Funchess are a little closer. I like Harry much better as a prospect. He's more athletic than Funchess. And I think Butler's kind of that better version of, not right now, Tyrell Williams. I think I'm higher on Butler going forward, and then Inman, who they like a lot too, but Butler's an upgrade. So, yeah, that makes sense to me. Definitely makes sense to me. And Funch, the key thing with a lot of these teams that people are going to say, oh, they just signed this guy. A lot of these are 1-year deals. You got to worry about your future here and get the top players left. Raiders take Noah Fant, tight end, Iowa. If he's sitting here at this point, you got to do it. And it's realistic, as you can see here. Chargers go Dexter Lawrence, defensive lineman from Clemson. They need a defensive lineman. They'll like Dexter Lawrence a lot. Chiefs go DeAndre Baker. You must have a corner here, and it may be the best player available at the point. You got lucky here. Chiefs are sitting in a tricky situation with they need defensive ends too, though. So it's tricky because there's a really, really, really good pass rushers. At the top here, they really fall off, and there's a pretty big gap with this pass rush group. The Packers they will not pass on Cody Ford at this point. Dalton Risner's a Packers type of guy too, but they need a lineman for the future. This guy can take the right tackle spot of the future if Balaga continues to get hurt, and he also can play right guard or left guard right away. And again, the Packers did a phenomenal job in free agency. They're looking good. They don't have as many needs, so you can just go out and get the best player available, with a bunch of your picks, and you can create something special, which needs to happen quick with Rodgers. So I got the trade details. The Dolphins are receiving a 4th-round pick in 2020 and the 2019 7th round, while the Titans are getting a 6th round in 2019 and Ryan Tannehill. Pretty good deal there. I think for both. I'll break that down more in another video. It makes, actually giving up a 4th round for what? That's tough. I'll break that down more in another video. Can't wait to do that. I got a lot to do. But where was I? Cody Ford. Would love that pick for the Packers. The Rams need offensive linemen. I was arguing with somebody in the comments of weeks and weeks ago, maybe a month ago, about me putting an offensive lineman in the Rams. And it looks like they need an offensive lineman. Looks like I could be right on that one. Dalton Risner can play tackle, can play guard. Definitely what they need. Whitworth's got 1 year left maybe. And it's, he can play the tackle spot there. He can fill in a guard right away, which they just lost Saffold. So it makes sense. Definitely makes sense here. And then N'Keal Harry to the Patriots, something that would happen. They need an outside receiver, but Harry can do it all at the same time. You can't pass him at this point. You just can't. So on to the 2nd round. This is taking a while here. Probably because of the Tannehill trade. The Cardinals getting Jerry Tillery, defensive lineman, Notre Dame. They need a defensive end, and their new 3-4 Jerry Tillery is the perfect guy for that. He's a 1st-round talent, but he might slide out. Him or Dexter Lawrence, even though they're different defensive linemen, I think one of those guys will slide out. So that makes a lot of sense there. I keep saying that. People call me out on that all the time. I say something makes a lot of sense, but it makes a ton of sense. Jerry Tillery, 3-4 end in the Cardinals defense, which they need. They're filling out some pass rushers. They're filling out the middle linebackers. Get your guy here. Colts, Jonathan Abram, safety, Mississippi State. He's fun to watch, man. He can cover. He's high motor, instinctive. He can play linebacker, play in the box, can play strong safety. The Colts wanted Landon Collins as a strong safety. They didn't get him. Good for them. They didn't overpay. They get Jonathan Abram. He's going to be a heck of a ball player. Plug him in there right next to Malik Hooker. Raiders, Josh Jacobs, running back, Alabama. I was watching a lot of running backs last night. Again, this is the point where I go back and watch a lot of guys, and it's a clear cut. I can't make up my mind on some of these running back rankings because they're all so close and they're way different, but clear cut, Josh Jacobs, number 1. A lot of upside, not a lot of wear on him because limited carries thanks to Alabama having a million running backs. Raiders go and get their guy. I did something a little different, which is possible too, in the 7-round mock. But they have a bunch of guys that are kind of like they're the talent of mid-round guys. So they go out and get a sure thing number 1. Makes a lot of sense here. I said it again. Niners, Nasir Adderley, safety, Delaware. This is either him or Deonte Thompson. They go get a playmaker, which they'll like a lot. They missed out on Earl Thomas. Nasir Adderley would work out in there for the Niners. Not too many more needs there. The Giants go Ja'Kai Polite, edge rusher from Florida. They need a pass rusher. Ja'Kai Polite is a first-round talent. He drops because of poor meetings, but still has elite traits as a pass rusher, as a prospect. So they go out and they get their lineman, they get the quarterback, they get the pass rusher. Looking pretty good now. Jags get Deebo Samuel, wide receiver from South Carolina. I think he could be a first-round talent too, but the depth at receiver pushed him down. The Jags need another guy. They get Samuel here, and they got their tight end and their receiver, and they got Nick Foles in free agency. There you go. Yadni Kajus for the Bucs. They get a pass rusher in the first. They get their future right tackle from West Virginia here in a second. Could potentially be a first. The Bills filled a lot of needs through free agency. Adam get a pass rusher in the first. Garrett Bradbury, kind of known as a center, but he can play guard at a very, very high level. And they need a right guard. They did a good job in free agency filling out their right tackle. They need a right guard now. Bradbury, too good to pass. He potentially could be a first-round pick as well. We're seeing how good this class is right now. Moving on, the Broncos, Rock Ya-Sin, cornerback Temple. He's a Vic Fangio type of guy. I know they signed Kareem Jackson. They need another guy for sure, at least another guy. Rock Ya-Sin is their type of corner. That's their type of corner. I'm confident on that. Will he be there? Will that be their pick? I guess that's a long shot, but I know they'll like him. Bengals go Mac Wilson. Too good to pass, and they need a linebacker badly. There you go. The Lions, like I said, filled out a bunch of needs, but they released TJ Lang. So Chris Lindstrom, instant plug-and-play guy, another guy that can potentially be a first-round pick. Packers go Deonte Thompson, safety, Alabama. Like I said, they did a great job filling needs in free agency, and they had 2 picks in the first round. Props to the Packers. Man, they're doing a great job with what they did in free agency and with the 2 first-round picks. And Deonte Thompson, so perfect next to Amos. This makes a lot of sense. I know they have other guys that can play. Josh Jones they can have some fun with. He's more of a box guy. They can rotate him in. Play in the box makes a lot of sense. And Deonte Thompson next to Amos also makes a lot of sense. The Falcons, I'm starting to think they can get Adrian Claiborne back. That'll be great. But for now, LJ Collier, defensive end, TCU. That's type like Claiborne, just the D line. Like he's on the D line as the DM position. What the Falcons have as Takk McKinley and Vic Beasley, both guys projected to be, off the ball guys coming in. So they need a guy like this, a guy like Claiborne. Collier has a ton of upside. Technique is there. Strength is there. Redskins, Charles Omenihu, defensive lineman, Texas. I think he plays the end spot opposite of Jonathan Allen. And they got a couple defense tackles last year. They got Settle, it would be the rotation guy. Jerron Payne's the starting guy. So they need an opposite of Jonathan Allen. Omenihu is good. Another guy, it wouldn't surprise me. It would surprise some of you out there maybe. But if he went late first, I'd be fine with it. He's pretty good. He can play multiple positions there. Very athletic. Very good technician, too, for the defensive line spot. A lot of teams like him. Panthers get an outside receiver, which they need desperately. Kelvin Harmon can stretch the field down the sideline. He's very good at catching the ball on the sideline and very good at contested catches as well. Receiver from NC State goes to the Panthers. Replaces Funchess. Upgrade. Jalen Ferguson, defense end, Louisiana Tech, I should say, and he goes to the Dolphins. They need another defensive end. I think they're confident about their young guys. Charles Harris, it's his time now. I was high on him in the draft. Now it's his time. I'm expecting things from him under Flores. Ferguson is a Flores guy, too. So Ferguson's got some upside under him. That would be a good pick there. Moving on. The Browns go Juan Thornhill, safety from Virginia, opposite of Randall. Thornhill is that Peppers replacement. He reminds me a lot of Peppers, too, and he might have some more upside. He might be a little more pro-ready. Very fun, very freakish guy. Great Peppers replacement. Perfect. Eric McCoy to the Vikings, another offensive lineman. I was trying to find a defensive end for them because Everson Griffin's most likely gone after next year. Weatherly's a good rotation guy, not a starter, and obviously they have Danielle Hunter on the one side. So they need another defensive end. They could, if they can all of a sudden figure out the offensive line situation here in free agency, or they're confident with their guys. Like I said, they do have the right coaches in place. They could go defensive end the first. I know they will be super, super high on a guy like Montez Sweat. So can they trade up? Probably not. McCoy could be another option. He can play center. They can kick Elflein to guard, or he can go play guard and they can keep Elflein at center. And Jonah Williams, like I said before, can play. Actually, I don't know if I mentioned that. Jonah Williams, I got distracted by the Tannehill thing. Left tackle and left guard will be Reef and Jonah Williams. Either one, either spot makes a lot of sense. Christian Miller to the Titans. Yeah, they could use a right guard now, but the rest of the line's so good where they'll be okay. They need a pass rusher. Vrabel will like Christian Miller from Alabama. He can be their pass rusher, outside linebacker, opposite of Harold Landry for the future. They did get Cameron Wake too, though. Doesn't have long. Steelers. Jawan Williams is a Steelers guy to me. I think he fits their defense perfectly, what they're trying to do there. Some zone work there. Williams would be good in the zone. He's not good against speedy receivers and man, but he can run man. I like Williams a lot. He's lengthy, had a better pro day than a combine, so that's good. Stock's a little up there. Williams is kind of one of my guys too. I think people are knocking him because maybe the speed, but he'll be okay. Eagles go to Tavon Coney, linebacker, Notre Dame. Another one of my guys, I guess, because people really aren't talking about him in the second round. Very, very instinctive, can blitz, can cover running backs, can pressure the quarterback. I said that already. He's not going to miss tackles. He's mainly a sure thing. He's tough. He wants to hit somebody. Somebody should pick him up here, and the Eagles need a linebacker pretty bad. To me, Coney could be an Eagles type of linebacker. The Texans got 2 picks in a row. They got a lineman in the first. Now they get Trayvon Mullen because they need a corner. The corner from Clemson. Could be a sneaky guy to sneak in the first. And then Jeffrey Simmons is still on the board. They can't pass him here. He's their future nose tackle. The Patriots probably would take Simmons too, but they go Draymond Jones, the athletic D tackle. Wild card to be moved to defensive end, and I can see the Patriots doing that too, but most likely defensive tackle in the 4-3. Last 8 picks, Eagles go David Montgomery, running back from Iowa State. Didn't have the greatest combine. We've watched the tape. He's very good. He can be every type of back. If you need a yard, he's going to get it for you. If you need 10 yards, he can bounce, make people miss. He also can catch the ball in the backfield, run after the catch. He's an every down running back. So to me, he's a second round running back. I was a little worried about the combine performance, but he put the tape back on, and he's pretty firm at my number 2. But I'm really, really starting to like Rodney Anderson. Rodney Anderson would be number 2 if it wasn't for the ACL tear this year. And I'm really starting to like Darrell Henderson. But David Montgomery there at 57. The Cowboys go Irv Smith Jr. I know Witten came back, but this is the future here. Too good to pass at this point. The Colts go Amani Aruwariye. I know what it is. I struggle to say it every time. Physical corner on the outside, good. Very good in the red zone too. He can do it all. The Colts need a corner here. They had him getting a receiver and a safety. 2 picks in the second round. Very good for the Colts. Darnell Savage can sneak in the second round. Perfect guy to put right next to Derwin James in the safety duo. This Savage is he can cover downfield. He can also come up and make a hit too. It makes a lot of sense there. Chargers duo there. The safety from Maryland had a great combine too. A flashy guy. Chiefs go Zach Allen, defensive end. Boston College can fit their new 4-3 scheme. Not the most athletic guy, but they'll like him on the line. And then the Saints go Paris Campbell, receiver, Ohio State. The Saints don't have a whole bunch of huge needs. To me, Paris Campbell makes sense because, they need that speedy, shifty guy there, that Ted Ginn used to be. So Campbell could be that guy. The Chiefs grab another corner, which they need. I had them. What if they did this? About to say it again. They will like this a lot here. DeAndre Baker, Julian Love. That was a good duo corner, and Love can play in the slot if they need him to too. And the Patriots go Jace Sternberger, tight end from Texas A&M. They're looking for a tight end. I know they like Sternberger. Dawson Knox could be the option too, but they need a tight end of the future here and a guy that can also play in the slot. I like the pick. That's going to do it. This was a long video, but we're starting to do 7-round team-by-team mock drafts. Bucks tomorrow, Giants the next day, which is Sunday. We'll try to continue those next week too. They're a bit of a process. I'm realizing how many graphics I have to make how many slides I have to make for those, and how many picks are there in the draft. So it's a process. We're getting to them. I love making them. So we'll get there. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this. That's going to do it for this one, though. 20K is our subscriber goal. Please help us get there. We got plenty of NFL content here, free agency, talking about the moves, the trades. Still got more of that to cover. And then we have NFL draft stuff constantly. Click the like button, notification button. We may go live at any time, so you want to have the notifications on. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for everyone's support. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.